afternoon to everybody. Let me start with two apologies. The first one is my own, because I could not be present this morning. I was in the Council Working Group discussing the revision of the Nuclear Safety Directive. And the second one is of my Director General, Mr. Ristori, who also would have liked to be here, but unfortunately the preparations of the European Council, I think at the best of him, I talked to him a couple of minutes ago. I will try to be short and straight to the point. I think that we don't need to look at this data again. I have seen that at least two of the previous speakers have shown similar slides, so I don't think we need to spend any time on these. We have a European park which starts to have a certain age, around 30 years altogether. Now, how does it work? Well, there are a number of criteria that people look at and when they want to use nuclear energy. And I think that the criteria are more or less these ones. The first one is that everybody that uses nuclear energy say, okay, safety and security are overriding principles, and we need to have the highest standards. And then we have to see what it means in practice. The second is public acceptance and how much people pay attention or not pay attention to this public acceptance. Then, of course, there is the key in the EU, which is the member states' position on nuclear energy use, and on this I will come back, because, well, I had the pleasure to work with Philippe Germain on the stress tests, and we did, I think, some very good work, but the decisions that were taken to close or not close were taken, let me say, outside this framework that was a technical evaluation of the capability of the plants. In Europe, competition, state aid rules and so on are fundamental, so financing of nuclear power plants and competitiveness are also a key criterion that has to be followed by the investors and by the public authorities. And of course, you know, the overall policy framework in which we move is a framework which moved from the 2020 objectives to highlighting possible ways forward till the decarbonization objective of 2050, and passing through the recent communication of the Commission on 2030. So, and of course, the component of research and innovation that I think that also this morning you went through in my absence. So I think that these are a number of aspects that have to be considered when you either decide to build or to extend the life. Now, what is then the actual situation, and who decides what? Because I think that this is also quite relevant. Member states decide on the energy mix, and therefore they decide whether they want to build new nuclear power plants or want to extend their lives. We heard, I think there has been lots of noise also yesterday on the newspapers about Fessenheim. The safety authority gives a license to operate till a certain year, and there can be a political decision to close before that. And the two things are clearly unrelated in this sense. So that's the member states level. So let's move to the EU. So what do? We have the duty to respect the treaties as they are. So if the energy mix can be chosen, we have to provide the safety framework, the legal framework that allows any of these activities to go on in the best possible way. And this comprises a clear number of competencies that we have in the EU. Some are specific competencies which are given to the Commission, other are competencies which are shared between the Member States and the Commission, and they include the safety, the waste, the radiological protection, and of course the safeguards in conjunction with security. You also know that as a principle the EU fosters an open debate and cooperation with all the stakeholders. And I will come back on that. And last but not least, we have a large program of support for safety in third countries, even though its size has been, I would say, rather reduced for the next financial period. You also know that the Commission action on the post-Fukushima has been articulated on a number of axes. First of all, the safety of the nuclear installation, first at the technical level in collaboration with the nuclear regulators in the Member States through the stress tests, and now with the revision of the safety directive. Then we are in a key phase of the implementation of the directive on waste and spent fuel, because in 2015 Member States will have to deposit the national plans on how to handle nuclear waste, so it will be interesting key moment to look at that. But as a consequence, and Mr. Haverkamp here knows very well, of one of the public meetings that we had during the stress tests, some emphasis was also shifted to discussing off-site emergency preparedness and response. And I think there are two actions, I don't know whether Philippe Chamet mentioned it this morning, but there is a joint action of HERCA and Vendra to have a group that Philippe chairs on that. And also, as Madame Rivasi knows very well, we have started by financing a study on the status of emergency preparedness and response off-site in the EU from the European side. And more recently, in January, we have also run a public seminar which received the attendance of some 300 people on the issue of civil liability and insurance. I think these are all rather thorny issues that we need to look at. Now, let me say what is the Commission response to all these, and this of course includes the LTO as one of the elements of it. First of all, in the proposal for amending the Nuclear Safety Directive, we have chosen to go for common European high-level safety objectives. And this is an approach that we have agreed in a series of consultations that we had with the nuclear regulators in ENER. Associated to that, we have also agreed that we want a system of European peer reviews, possibly topical peer reviews, and this is a thorny issue that we are discussing in the Council, in order to monitor the level of implementation of these safety objectives. And the two go together. You cannot have one without the other. This is a fundamental, how can I say, architectural construction point of the directive. The third is how do we hinge on safety governance? Well, you have a number of choices. The choice that we have taken is to reinforce the existing governance that we have in the Member States by detailing a number of criteria that support the de facto independence of the national regulatory authorities when they take their decisions. And this is, I think, a very important point. And fourth, we also worked to propose a clearer article on transparency and public involvement in the decision making. And the logic here is there as well. You can have a wonderful independent nuclear safety authority, but if you don't subject it to public scrutiny, this is not enough. So I think that there is a whole chain of principles that have been used in preparing this directive. And as I said, this and it goes. Then, you know, how is it applied to the subject of today, to the long-term operation? So, once you want to prolong the lifetime of a nuclear power plant, or simply, it depends on the country, you have to go through a renewal of a license. You have to comply with the EU safety objectives. So you have to be subject to that. You have also to, we have institutionalized the 10 years compulsory regime for periodic safety reviews. In certain countries it was already true, in other countries it was not true. And I think that I can say that at this stage we have a good agreement of the member states on this. But, and there I want to re-put the finger on this, we consider that the decision for the lifetime management is a national decision. Now, apart from all these, there is something else that has to be said, if you allow me, which is the fact that since 2007 the Commission has put together with the national regulators in ENER and in other instances I would say extremely fruitful collaboration, and it is quite clear that if there are instances and events that will foster the discussion, I think that ENER is part of the governance structure and will be used to discuss specific cases that may emerge. So I would leave it at that. Thank you very much.